Confession from a sex shop employee. My biggest source of stress is people who come in wanting to buy a pill/supplement that they can slip to their partner/spouse without them knowing. I get asked on an almost daily basis to help some person essentially drug someone that trusts them so they can get a nut. I'm horrified, and every time it happens I sort of shut down because I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing and losing my job. I'll usually say something like, well, our pills can't be crushed up or dissolved, so I suggest having a conversation with your partner about trying one and allowing them to have informed consent, and they look at me all horrified like I'm not trying to rape them. But they kind of are. Giving someone something to make them horny when they wouldn't take it if given the choice is such a violation of consent and trust. I would be destroyed if my partner did that to me. How can anyone ever think this is okay? People, this is a venting subreddit. Opted not come here to teach you all about sexual enhancement drugs and supplements. Stop. Former sex shop employee here, and I hated when people would do this as well. Luckily I worked at an amazing shop where I could tell someone off for anything I wanted. We'd always tell people never to do that, especially since it can hurt people with heart conditions. Sometimes I'd ask how they'd like that done to them, and most would be quiet. People. You are 100% right. Some of those vasodilators and shit will stop your heart if you have a pre-existing condition, whether it's been diagnosed or not. Point of reference, I have what's called orthostatic hypotension. If I overexert it will literally kill me. Took me like 8 head injuries and 2 trips to the hospital to figure it out. Mix that with some crazy untested stimulants. No, we don't sell illegal rape drugs. I love going to restaurants and asking the waiter, hey, can you bring out some water for my wife? But then I go to the back and get them to give her pure vodka, the kind that tastes exactly like water and you can't tell. She gets super wasted, and that's the only time she will consent to having sex with me. But I'm her husband, so it's fine, and I'm not trying to rape her. Just make sure she give me consent 100% without knowing she's being coerced. Op should say what? Like a date rape drug? When asked. Call them out of their shit, op. They can't report you or complain, they're literally trying to drug someone. Thank you for doing what's right. I wish their damn partners knew that was even a thought in their head. Your response is perfect. Thank you for being brave and kind. Hopefully it makes them rethink things. Amen. My ex was always trying to pressure me into things I was uncomfortable with, and that was icky enough. It's even more disgusting when they try to trick you. My ex always offered to be the DD for us/but us we, because if I got drunk/high maybe I'd be more likely to sleep with him. I don't think he understood that behavior was the whole reason I didn't want to in the first place. Reading this I've only just realized how wrong this is, and it's exactly what my ex used to do. Let's get drunk. You actually want to have sex when you're drunk. Total opposite here. I would say, hey, maybe don't pound gin and tequila after that bottle of wine, babe. Wasn't getting sex anymore at that point anyway, just didn't want to get screamed at till 2 a.m. on a Friday after a 65-hour week. Hey buddy, we love you. My same thought. I get how the customers could not fully see what they're actually doing can seem rapey, as I too have been in relationships that had very hardcore sex sessions where some were like been a rape type fetish, and BDSM, and so on. But they need to realize how they're speaking and to whom they're speaking to, as it can easily be mistaken as a very horrid potential. People are fucked. It's even more fucked up that there's shitloads of videos on YouTube that does this exactly. Then wanna call it a prank once they've realized it's gone too far. SMFH. Something like how shitty opinions, particularly online and in the mainstream media, magically become jokes once the backlash gets too uncomfortable for the jokesters. So many chuckle fucks need to learn that calling something a joke doesn't automatically mean that it's funny, or let them off the hook for their behavior. It just means that they don't take an issue as seriously as they should. That is disgusting. YouTube censors so much. Why not those videos? It's encouraging shitbags to compete. Us wolves are safe though. Happy Cake Day, man. You what the actual fuck? Thank you for being a decent human being and not enabling this, but gross that it happens. I wish there was a way to record them and send the video to their partner. A person who wants to go behind their partner's back to increase sexy time is not someone to be with at all. I don't care how good they are with everything else. Or the police. What's the police going to do about it? Giving someone a physiology-altering substance without their consent, or trying to, is felony assault by poisoning in most places. Even if it's like slipping the dye that turns people's pee bright blue into someone's food without their consent. I think he knows that, but just intent alone is not enough sometimes. Well, it's technically rape, so. I used to be good friends with a girl that told me she suspected her boyfriend at the time was doing this to her, despite her enthusiastically consenting to sex most of the time. It crushed her. She was so devastated because she couldn't understand why someone she trusted would do something so vile. I hate that it's apparently a common thing. I couldn't stay with someone if they were doing that to me. It sounds so terrifying. I can't believe that people ask you about this on a regular basis. Thank you for at least making them pause and maybe think more about it. I wish your job would allow you to tell them off, though. My guess is he had a weird fetish? Mind control/drug fantasies are a thing. These people don't seem to register just what they're doing to their partner. Hopop's response is a wake-up call. First, you are a good person. Second, they actually sell stuff that will really make you horny? I didn't think that really worked. Having been to a class held by a local BDSM club, the act of giving any chemical/medication/herbal supplement to a person without their knowledge and consent is against the law. That act, depending on local, state or federal law, could be considered assault or battery. Anything done to the individual after the consumption, ingestion or injection of, will be considered assault, and any sexual act will be considered rape. Also, you can be charged with rape if your spouse does not want sex or is forced to have sex. You have prevented many a case of upset men and women. I salute you. I hope you find a much better job soon. 100% correct. It is illegal as well as unethical as hell. Source: probably been to the same class as you have at a BDSM club. We can't even have beer on property due to consent considerations. Best to know the rules before you break them. And that place turns into fuck, marry, kill real quick. Informed, sober consent is mandatory. Terminology: politely correct me if I'm wrong. Assault starts with making someone afraid for their safety and/or well-being. Battery begins with actual injury. That's essentially correct. Assault begins at signaling violence. Battery begins once violence occurs. Now, your court case may vary. Thanks. Is this an American thing? In Canada, the criminal code includes assault, which is the application of force against a person without that person's consent. I believe the charge where I'm from is administering a noxious substance. Most rapists don't see themselves as rapists. That's why you're more likely to be assaulted by someone you trust. They don't think what they're doing is wrong. Redditor for a while now, Does no one remember the rapist AMA? It was a shitstorm, and you are correct that there was a very large blind spot in the poster and many of the commenters. Bruh, I thought your comment said rapist for a while and I stopped in my tracks. My ex doesn't, and he did basically this to me. He roofied me and then swore I wanted it. Said I was more horny than I'd ever been. That I was trying to rip his clothes off in the car and all kinds of shit. I only vaguely remember bits and pieces of the night. Like him naked and on top of me. I have a vague memory of saying stop babe, but that's it. Ike what I said stop to or about. Just naked him on top of me. The next morning I had a splitting headache when I woke up totally naked. I felt so much shame. He just had such a proud smile on his face. To this day, this happened 15 years ago, I know he still thinks he did nothing wrong. He has never admitted to drugging me, but I know he did. I know because I never even got through my first beer that night. Drank maybe half a beer, but he swears he thought I was just tipsy. People, please don't ever do this to you so. Please. It's a violation. Talk about it first. If you want to feel high when having sexual, cool. But be sober when you have the talk. Please. Respect each other. I'm so sorry that happened to you. We need better laws and advocacy in this world against sex offenders. I truly hope you are doing okay now. Thank you. I'm better. I struggle, I think in ways I always will, but I'm much better than I was. I've been married for 12 years and it took me almost 10 years before I even spoke to my husband, or literally anyone else about it. But I've done a lot of healing, I think. I'm not whole and I may never be, but I won't let my ex take everything from me. I wish I would have had the courage to go to the police. But I know how it goes and I didn't feel like having my entire life dragged out just to prove I didn't ask for it. I definitely wish sexual offenses got taken more serious and that victims weren't treated like suspects. Jesus. Where do you live? I worked in a sex shop for a while and never had this happen. And a lot of weird questions happened. Also a sex shop employee. Am shocked to hear about this happening daily. It's happened to me once so far. Will keep the consent thing on my mind the next time it happens. This is how it should be. You are doing great work. The fact that those women don't even know this is horrifying. May God help them.